boobytubbytv.org. I'm back for some comics, and if you pay attention to these videos, you know I missed November's. November got crazy, with my job and family Christmases and all sorts of nonsense. So I wasn't able, I kept trying every weekend to get down to Heroes and get my comics. It didn't work out, so I finally got down just a week or two ago, whatever it was, and finally finished reading through everything. So this is going to be more like December's comic review, and we're going to ignore November, and then I'm going to get another one going in January. I'm going to give it some time because we got Christmas and all that stuff coming up and me starting my new job, so it's going to be hairy again. So we'll make this December's, and then we'll do January later on in another month or so, month and a bit, and we'll leave it at that. So first up, lots of stuff to go through. Turtles, regular ongoing series, number 122. In this one, they're just cleaning things up after capturing Hob, and they're deciding, okay, well, who's going to police Mutant Town? Who's going to do this, do that, do the other thing? So they're divvying up kind of duties and stuff amongst all of the people that fought on the Turtles side and want to make Mutant Town a good place to live. And they're having a rally for the general populace to kind of, for transparency and that sort of thing. And then it skips ahead to Halloween time, and all the turtles and the kids and everything, they're all going out for Halloween. They all got their costumes on. But the Weasels, who Hob has been talking with, as he was the one who kind of brought them into the fold at first, and they call him Daddy still, he engineers an escape attempt using them to do so. And the turtles notice this and, of course, chase him down again. Raph gets injured in the process, and Hobbs escapes to this building where there's some sort of scientist lady who is human, but she's got what looks like some sort of bird arm going on. And he talks to her about some sort of mutagen she's got cooking up, and he brings out some dynamite as well, referring to his latest plan or whatever. So that's kind of how the issue ends off. So there's obviously more trouble coming to Mutant Town in the near future. Next up, as usual, is a whole whack of Transformers stuff. So we'll start with number 9 of the Beast Wars saga that's going on right now. Black Arachnia brought down those pods with the bots in stasis in orbit, if you'll remember, and she has taken that information back to the Predacons. So Megatron is waxing like, yeah, we're going to win this war now that we got all these things coming down, these bots. So we're going to go out and look for them. Everybody mobilize, go look for these things. And they're like, well, how do we know if they're Predacon or Maximal? He's like, well, you should know, so if it's a Predacon, keep it. If it's a Maximal, kill it, right? So they go out and looking for pods, and one of the Predacons, Scold, who turns into like an alligator, is a female Predacon and doesn't get any respect from the other ones because she's kind of a little bit different. So while she's out, she's the only one who finds one of these stasis chambers, and a bot named Razor Beast pops out of it. Now, she identifies him as a Maximal, but he saves her life right off the hop. And so the two of them kind of form this kind of friendship without him knowing that she's a Predacon, and kind of go through the forest. But then those weird kind of electric ghost beings that are watching over everything that's going on this planet show up and go, let's set some fucking weird wolves or whatever they're called on them, these mechanical wolves. And so they set themselves on these two bots. And this time Scold has to save Razor Beast, who goes into stasis locked after being damaged so badly. So Scold ends up taking Razor Beast back to the Maximal ship. And once there, Dinobot tries to talk Scold into saying, you know what, I changed sides, you can too. But Scold is having none of it and pushes him off and says, wait till we meet next time, I won't be so forgiving, sort of thing, right? So that's kind of where that one ends. Next up, issue 3 of King Grimlock. I'm still not really sure of everything that's going on in this series, but basically Grimlock has been training the citizens of this land to fight, and they are marching on the Red King, or the Red, whatever he is, yeah, the Red King. So they do so, and things are going well until the Red King unleashes a whole bunch of wood bots on them, but Grimlock's like, I've trained you for this, you could do it. Double our efforts and stuff. So then Grimlock finally gets his hands on the Red King, who ends up being a Quintesson in disguise and tears this thing apart. But the Golden One is still out there, and the Golden One, being more powerful than the Red King, is still a formidable challenge. And he is now being helped by the one female human who was at odds with Grimlock at the start of this whole series. And so God knows what kind of help or intel she's going to pass along to the Golden One to make Grimlock's task even hairier as it continues to unfold. Next up, a new series, a sub-series called Transformers, The Wreckers. So the Wreckers are a team of, I believe it's 5 or 6 robots who, they're almost like a special ops team. And they go into certain situations and solve things without anybody knowing. But at the same time, they also have a show, like a TV show. So they film aspects of their adventures to be shown as a TV show and make them kind of famous, right? So what happens in this one, though, is that during one of their missions, they're doing some stunts and stuff, and all of a sudden their broadcast is cut into by this kind of group of 3 terrorist bots or whatever that are holding somebody captive and saying, on the world Velocitron, it is ruled by whoever can win this Speedia 500 race, which is ridiculous. We need democracy, we need fairness, we need whatever. This is a mockery of justice. And so they execute this bot on live air saying, you know, Velocitron, I forget the ransom demands they give, but basically Velocitron is in their cross sights. So the Wreckers land on Velocitron to try and uncover these terrorists and help the planet through this threat. And in the process, one of the Wreckers named Circuit, who's kind of a nerd and kind of an outcast from the other ones, he goes off on his own after feeling kind of useless and gets chased down by somebody. You don't see who it is until right at the end of the issue when it pans out to him, and he's this robot on a motorcycle who you can tell has kind of bullied Circuit in the past. So we don't know where this is going to go from this point onwards, but for Circuit, probably nowhere good, right? Next up, issue 3 in the Shattered Glass sub-series. Now this is the one where it's kind of like the Decepticons are the good guys and the Autobots are the bad guys. It's kind of the reverse thing. Everybody's different color and stuff. So Starscream has convinced Megatron to resume the Decepticon leadership. So they're marching into this city, and Starscream's like, you know, they're going to know who we are and stuff, right? And he's like, yep, let them come. So they're on a mission to kind of rally whatever Decepticons might be left out there that want to help. And so they find Ravage and they find Soundwave. And while all this is happening, Starscream is having flashbacks about how things became so bad. Back in the day, him and Jetfire were buddies, and what they wanted to do was solve the coding behind Metroplex's head, which has been lying dormant on the planet for years and years, reawaken it and gain all of the knowledge of a Titan that he has in his databanks. And Starscream and Jetfire petitioned Optimus Prime to fund this expedition years and years ago, which never quite panned out. So then he cut their funding and whatever, and then Jetfire kind of went over to the Autobot side and whatever. So there's all this kind of backstory going on while Megatron and Starscream are gaining allies in current times. And during that process, they run into Blaster and his Tape Corps, and a big fight ensues. And in the end, you just see kind of Starscream laid low, and as he's opening his eyes and everything's all foggy, he sees Jetfire and Goldbug looming above him going, right? So we don't know what's going to happen there, but not a happy day for Starscream. Last up, 36 in the regular ongoing Transformers series. And this is still the ongoing battle for the Enigma of Combination. And out by Termagax's big weird building with legs out on the Sea of Rust. So the battle rages. Skywarp finally shows up, tries to deal with Optimus Prime, and in the process steals the Enigma of Combination from Termagax, and warps back outside and says, "I have it, I'm the king." And Skylynx comes down and like swoops him up and snaps him up, and so then it's kind of like a scramble for the Enigma as different bots kind of grab it and stuff. But with all the battling that's going on, the shoreline along the Sea of Rust has become unstable and starts to crumble into the Sea of Rust. And the bot who had the Enigma in his hands last falls in. So the Enigma is lost, and everybody, Decepticon and Autobot alike, are scrambling to get out of the region and race away to safety before they all fall into the Sea of Rust and perish themselves. So that's kind of where that ends off. So it's almost like a reset going forward, like what's the next step that's going to happen, right? Now that the Enigma's lost and this battle has kind of ended in chaos for everybody. So can't wait to see where that takes us. Last up for the newer comics, anyways, is issue 287 of the ongoing G.I. Joe series, which is, of course, my favorite. This is a really cool issue because it has a couple of vehicles I really like and some characters I really like. So basically, the Joes are running a nighttime covert operation to Cobra Island. Cutter and Shipwreck are aboard the Whale, the G.I. Joe hovercraft, and also in there is Outback and Sherlock and 3 others. The Mongoose is one of them, a new Joe that I'm not familiar with, and a couple of others. Sherlock's little buddy from one of their past missions anyways, but that's besides the point. They are using a dinghy to depart the Whale and infiltrate Cobra Island. And once, there's some close calls along the way, but once they're on the island, they split up into 2 teams to go and investigate what the hell is happening on Cobra Island. At the site of their former headquarters, Cobra appears as though they're building a giant casino. Which is the odds are always in the favor of the house, but as they state in here, Dr. Mindbender states they're even more in the favor of the house at Cobra Island, right? So, and then the other team notices where they go, it's like a shipping yard, and they see this big shipping container with a big red X on it, which they noticed in the previous adventure when their Cobra, the guys they were chasing, escaped in the helicopter, and they took these shipping containers with them. This is the one from that. So they fall back to their positions, and the team that's on at the casino notice this crate eventually coming in, and when they empty it, it's Dr. Mindbender's old brainwave scanner, the device that he uses to mess with his enemies' minds. So they're like, we got to get at that. That thing's full of great intel. So the 3 of them sneak in, subdue some Crimson Guardsmen, sneak in, avoid trouble, just like getting into the island in the first place, and eventually get in, download all the shit from the brainwave scanner. Some more hairy moments up on the exfiltration, but they do get out, rendezvous with the other guys, get back to the Whale, and take off. While Dr. Mindbender goes about his business, all not assuming anything. These Joes are going back to the pit with a whole bunch of good intel in hand. So I'll be very excited to see, what they do with it. Last up, I thought I would raid the back issues bin and search for some stuff I don't have yet, and I hit the jackpot with Star Wars. So I found like the original 1980s comics. I found issues 75, 77, 79, number 80, 84, 88, and finally 89. Now, the first 3 or 4 issues all deal with Luke and Leia and Lando and Chewie trying to, it's a kind of a 2-pronged attack. They're trying to track down a rebel spy named Tay Vanis, who apparently has some vital intel, some data tapes that some Bothans got with regards to the Empire's goings on. And so they're desperately searching for him across multiple planets, and it's just kind of this long goose chase until they finally realize that, he's been killed by Darth Vader, and his droid is in possession of the intel, so they grab that from said droid. Meanwhile, Lando and Chewie are trying to ferret out, this is after Empire, they're trying to ferret out just where Han Solo has been taken after he was frozen in carbonite. Although they heard a rumor that he's been sent to Jabba's palace, they checked it out, he wasn't there, so they're sourcing others outlets of intel across multiple planets, just like Luke and Leia, and eventually do come to the conclusion that no, he has indeed been taken to Jabba's palace. So that's kind of where those ones go. Then the third last one, issue 84, it's Han and Chewie. They're gambling on a world somewhere, and come into possession of a map and a crystal from an old man who calls Han a cheat at the end and flips the table on him, and they leave the planet in a blaster fight. They leave their credits behind, but they have the crystal and the map, and so they go on this kind of treasure hunt to a planet that's long rumored to either have been destroyed or have never existed in the first place, but it's a great white buffalo, right? Like, and nobody knows where this thing is or if it's ever been real. But there's all this treasure on it, so they go kind of on a goose chase for said treasure with this map and statue in hand. Issue 88 and 89. This happens after Jedi has happened. So the Empire, Darth Vader's dead. The Empire's been laid low. The first one, Leia and Mon Mothma go to this world called Halderon or something like. It's not Alderaan. It's like Haldera, something like that, which is a pretty affluent world. And upon arriving, like, you know, they hope for a successful mission where they can align themselves with these guys, and but quickly things unfold, and they realize these ruling class of this planet are a bunch of slugs who promote slavery, and the middle and lower class are at risk of death or imprisonment at any time for the tiniest of infractions, right? So Mon Mothma is taken captive, but Leia escapes and is hunted down by their enforcer on the planet, but she aligns with these rebels on the planet, and they win their freedom and lay this ruling caste low. And then in the final one, issues 89, it's kind of a similar thing, but it's Luke this time. He's on a planet, I forget the name, Ardos or something like that, and he's leading a final rebel insurrection to oust this world of their tyrannical rule. And in the process, he meets this lovely girl named Mary, who he's kind of fallen for. But during the final push, their figurehead for this rebellion on this planet, he's killed, and reveals that there's a traitor in the mist. So him and Mary kind of go on the hunt for this traitor, and Luke's falling prey to revenge and dark side thoughts, but Mary keeps him on the straight and narrow. And in the end, he realizes that the traitor was the actual guy himself, who was actually a rebel spy, double spy, I guess you'd call, who actually in his last act, before calling the Empire to the planet, who soon show up after the victory, the rebel victory, ended up killing himself. That's who killed him. So kind of a twisting tale of traitorism and whatnot there. So yeah, so these early comics aren't necessarily intertwined with the whole Star Wars continuity. That you know, they're at a certain place in these Star Wars comics, they're actually somewhere else in the actual expanded universe where everything's time checked and stuff. But they're still great adventures and lots of fun action and stuff like that. So yeah, glad to knock off 7 issues. So hopefully that'll put another dent in my Star Wars collection. And well, we'll see if they have anything I don't have next time around. So until January.